Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1109. Wait, 1915. 19,015.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I can't count. 1,915. 1915. Hi, I'm Mike. Yesterday, I saw an interesting sight. I was with my lovely lady friend in downtown Hayward, and there... That's what I saw. Yeah. A jazz band is what I saw. And
Mike's Daily Podcast.
This guy who was drinking at the bar, throwing a street guy out who was asking for
Mike's
money.
Daily
He walked in,
Podcast.
stinky, crappy, falling off him clothes.
Yeah!
Down on his luck, as we used to say. And the guy said, "Get out." And he goes, I have a right to be here. And he said, "No, get out. This is a privately owned premises. Leave." And he pushed him out. And both these guys were tiny. They were small little men. Little men. Munchkins. And he threw him out. And I say, you know what? It's gotten bad in the Bay Area. And you know what? The Bay Area has asked for it for a long time, because we've basically, here in the Bay Area, have said, you know, you be your own thing, and you be poor, and you be down on your luck, and you can still stay here because we love you and we love everyone. But the problem is businesses can't run. Businesses are going out of business all over the place in the Bay Area, and they need it to stop. I left a restaurant. I was super hungry. I walked into this one restaurant, little cafe, and this homeless guy was there talking about how he just got out of probation, and he was standing there and assaulting everyone. I got the hell out. I didn't patronize that place. I should have done what the little guy did and said, leave. You're disturbing everyone who's trying to have a nice meal and deal with.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Go. I know that's very Scrooge of me, but that's just, it's gotten so bad in the Bay Area. Look who's here right now, who's in the podcast picture. It is Scrooge. No, it's this guy.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Well, before we talk to the Brewmaster, it is sad to know that there was a bad explosion in Huntington Beach last night. Now, I used to go, this is an Oktoberfest. It was an electrical explosion. I have gone to Oktoberfest when I was a young child with my mom. Huntington Beach goes nuts over Oktoberfests. It's a neat place to go to an Oktoberfest. They got the little, like, old world villages and stuff, like you're in old Germany and stuff. Basil. And the bratwurst. Oh, that's older Basil right there. Older Basil. Yeah. You tell us, Basil. What? That's right. Harvard. That's what he said. So what happened was they just basically they had an explosion, and that's electrical explosion. I don't know if that might have been because those places are so old, those Oktoberfest places, and maybe they haven't updated all the wiring in California that they make you do that, update and get up to regulation, but maybe they skirted around it. Hey. Oh, so this guy here is the podcast picture.
That's right, Mike. I make a delicious root beer, and you're on my new podcast. Oh, boy.
Yes, your podcast about drinking root beer.
No.
Game of Thrones?
No.
Micah and Molly?
No.
Okay, well, to find out what the podcast is that the Brewmaster is doing, you can go to MikesDailyPodcast.com and see the podcast picture. And it's on all the social media. Instagram.com. You can find us there at Mike's Daily Podcast. Just look up that. On Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud. It's at Mike Talks. And all the other stuff you can find at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Links. Ah, delicious bratwurst links. Yum. Yeah, so what I have noticed in this Taylor Swift world, that now she's having some more success. Her last album, not so big. She had that Look What You Made Me Do and this very expensive music video with like a bunch of Taylor Swifts all murdering each other and stuff. And people were talking at that point, ooh, Taylor Swift, she's the darling of the alt-right because she's blonde and she's white. She's the alt-right queen, princess. And then she comes out with this album, Lover, and she brings up issues. Well, namely in the You Need to Calm Down. And the music video is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. It's in a trailer park. It's ghetto fab. It's Taylor Swift setting a trailer on fire. And she's got all the nice clothes, and then she's surrounded by what appear to be men dressed as women. However way you want to identify that in the most basic form, there you go. Let's see, RuPaul shows up. And RuPaul, I say go, girl, RuPaul, with your not wearing wigs anymore and just showing off your big bald head. I love it. Keep doing that, RuPaul, and all the success to you. But yes, there's Ryan Reynolds for half a second doing a painting, and I think that was in reference. He does that lean over like Norman Rockwell did in one of his paintings, where he painted himself and he leans over for a second. And I guess maybe making a statement. It's an awesome video. And then at the end, Katy Perry and Taylor Swift hug. And Taylor Swift, I think, is French fries, and Katy Perry's a big burger. And they hug each other because they had this feud for so long. And apparently, bad love. Now you got problems, and it's all them. That one was written about Katy Perry. And they've worked out their feud. So, the point, though, I would like to say about Taylor Swift, if I may take my little pulpit here and say to you, my little pulpit, that be careful, because, I applaud Taylor Swift for her creativity, and she co-writes everything, or writes everything. She has since the country music days. But there is this Taylor Swift trope of where she jumps from man to man and doesn't settle down, and she can't seem to find the right guy. Oh, guys are hot and delicious to her. As we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Podcastro Valley ton today. They're lovely to her, and they can be hot and cute and sexy, and she likes the one particularly with the nice hair. And she finds a guy, but then it seems like, oh, guys are stupid, and then drops them like a little girl. Oh, guys are stupid, ew, and then leaves them. And then, I don't know what's happening exactly. I don't want to psychologically. I don't have a psychological background, but it would appear that she does not stay with any one man for a long time, and thus writes a song about the breakup afterwards. That's what we know about Taylor Swift. But be careful of that. Be careful of... So my girlfriend has said to me, you are not the typical guy that I used to like, that I used to be with. You're the first for me with the type of guy you are. You're different. And I applaud her for that, for taking a chance. Take a chance on me. And she's different, too, for that matter. So I think sometimes different is a good thing. And maybe don't go for that same pretty boy trope that maybe Taylor Swift is doing. I know a couple. Actually, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I know a lot of women that do this. They go for the pretty boys. And then they post a ton of pictures with them and the pretty boy. Oh, they get married super fast, too. And that's all they do is post pictures. Or... they post themselves with maybe not a pretty boy, but the biggest pretty boy that they know. They go and get pictures with Hanson because they grew up with Hanson, and they're so in love with Hanson. Yes, the three boys that are now grown men that haven't had a hit since Mbop, but they put out good albums. They're talented musicians, but that's how they are. They follow a superstar. And that's when they post pictures of them with a guy, is them with the superstar. So this all leads back to a Dixie Chicks concert that I went to years ago. Yes, and the Dixie Chicks are coming out with a new album. And Natalie Maines is writing a ton of stuff, and I'll tell you why. And that is because she's going through a horrible divorce. Now, we back up. Over a decade ago, I saw them in concert. And Natalie Maines was having all the success. This is before her comment about George W. Bush that got her in so much trouble, which we laugh at today. Look at all the things that Trump has said about Obama. And for that matter, let's see. You could tie this around to all kinds of things. People say all kinds of nasty things about Trump, and nowadays, so the Dixie Chicks were in a particularly sticky situation because they were country music stars, and all of a sudden their lead singer said something anti-Republican president in a foreign land, and that got them in a heap of... for some reason that year the conservative talk show host had nothing to talk about, and then when she did that, they had something to talk about, and thusly she gets banned. The Dixie Chicks get banned completely from country radio. And this is right about the time they were having crossover success with their cover of The Landslide Will Bring Me Down, or the Fleetwood Mac song, Landslide. And Sheryl Crow had remixed it. And there was this... They were like superstars at this point. And I saw them 3 times. And one of the times I saw them, I remember Natalie Maines saying, and this is, I think, at the top of her absolute popularity, and she had just started, I think she married Adrian Pasdar after a few months. The actor Adrian Pasdar, they met on the set of the song for Goodbye Earl. He played the sheriff that comes around and says, ma'am, if you need us, give us a call. I forget the lyrics to that song now. If you need us, would you let us know? The one with Dennis Franz. Okay, maybe you don't know this song. Dennis Franz is the Earl who's abusing his wife, and then the wife ends up killing Dennis Franz, and that's what the song is all about. Goodbye, Earl. And at the end of the video, he comes back as a zombie, foretelling all of the zombie stuff, the zombie craze we have now, and he dances at the end. So Adrian Pasdar meets Natalie Maines on the set of this music video. They fall in love. They marry after only a few months. They have kids. And this is at the height of the huge... I don't know if you remember, the Dixie Chicks Fly album was absolutely gigantic when that was out. It sold bigger than any country album up to that point. And so she says in concert, and I'll never forget this, she says, don't settle for anything less than the fairy tale. Flash forward to 2019. She is going through a horrible divorce with Adrian Pasdar. He's demanding $450,000 from her in back alimony or something. He's banning her from writing any songs about him. Now, I don't know if you know about this, but as a songwriter, as Taylor Swift would know, you get your material from your heartache, from your breakups. How is this even going to happen? Poor Natalie Maines. Well, she's a bazillionaire, so let's not feel too sorry for her. But at the same time, wow. So be careful of this whole fairy tale mythology. And there is reality, and you need a healthy dose of it, and you can't forget it. And be smart. Be smart with your money. Don't do apps. Don't do the gig economy. Don't let any app have access to your credit card, ever. That's when things start getting messy. That's when the recurring subscription that's in that app will start charging you for every ridiculous thing. And you'll go, oh, this is so easy. This is, as Rob Black says, who's a guy, a financial guy, I produce his show sometimes. I was his sole producer for 2 years, had to get up at 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning every day and do his show. And some of his financial advice sunk into my head. And one of the things he said was, very importantly, is that our society is becoming more and more like we're a bunch of little chicks. And we pay for things where the big chick eats and grinds up the food and just shoves it in the mouth of the chick. Remember that? You seen that from your little nature movie? That's what the mother birds do to their little chicks, is chew up the food and shove it in their mouth. And that's the kind of society we are now, is we only eat food that's heavily processed, that our bodies don't do anything except turn it right into sugar, and we get fat and get diabetes. And type 2 diabetes is the worst freaking thing happening everywhere. Everyone's got it. Commercials talk about type 2 diabetes. That's all you hear about, type 2 diabetes. Oh my God, it's the biggest thing. And these apps are doing that. They're doing all the chewing for us, all the work for us, and we become these lazy, fat, as Rob Black says, Oompa Loompas. It's true. And we got to stop with that. We got to delete all those apps because they're taking precious private information from you and harvesting it and making money off of you. They're taking your information. You think, oh, this is an easy, convenient thing. No. They're taking all that information. They're harvesting your data. They're making money off of you. All that money should be yours, and they're making money off of you because you thought it'd be something easy. And next thing you know, your bank account has been debited, this and that and the other thing, and oh my God, where's all my money? It's gone because of these stupid subscription models, these stupid make everything easy for you apps. Oh, I am so thankful I have a crappy 2-year-old, 3-year-old phone now, has no memory on it. Even though it's a Samsung, and Samsungs are wonderful, and I love Android phones, screw Apple, because if you want extra storage space, you just put in a tiny little cheap SD disc, is that what they call it? The little tiny little micro disc thingy, and it adds all this memory. I've got all these pictures on my phone right now, and it's all sitting in this SD card memory. It's wonderful. And I don't have to save it. The memory on the phone, though, I think it's only 8 gigs or something, gets filled up in 3 seconds. And so I can't have a bunch of apps. A lot of apps won't allow you to move the app to the SD card. So I'm like, screw it. I don't need those apps. I don't want people having access to my credit card information, to my bank account information, because that's so easily hacked through smartphones. And bam, there you get in all that kind of trouble. And then make sure you pay only for things with credit cards, because that way it's much easier to get reimbursed or to cancel a payment, or you just don't pay for something that you didn't pay for. Whereas a debit card, it's gone, it's out. Oh, all these wonderful things that I learned from Rob Black. See, it pays to know people that know a lot about money, that think a lot about money. We have a fear of money in this world. Yes, we have arachnophobia, the fear of spiders. And shoot, I think it was a recent Costco that talked about the fear of money, is chromatophobia or crematophobia. Interesting. That's the fear of money. Chromatophobia. And there I was being all pro Google and droids and phones and chromes. And there it's chromatophobia. Okay, so be careful of that. And watch Glow, because I like seeing strong women. And it's funny because it's a story of the 80s female wrestling team, Glow. And the actresses in this TV show on Netflix are so good, are so funny. Alison Brie, you've never seen her like this. I love the fact that she's got like no makeup on through most of the show. And she always has this just freshly cried look to her. Like she just had been bawling her eyes out. And she's one of these characters that all these crappy things are happening to her. She's a struggling actress in the San Fernando Valley. Oh, and it talks about the San Fernando Valley in the 80s, which I love. And Mark Maron's in it, who is a fellow podcaster, though I have never met him. And there's the blonde gal who has the strangest squint, and they have her squint a lot on this show, and it's really funny. And all the other actresses, they are so good, all different shapes and sizes and colors and creeds. It's wonderful, and backgrounds. I'm loving Glow. I watch it with my lovely lady friend and have a good laugh. Fall is here! Autumn is here, and the chill in the air. And if you want to hear a fun discussion about Morrissey, go to the last podcast with Stormy Phoenix. If you want to hear me live on the air on KKDV, actually I'm on right now. You probably won't hear it by the time I post it, but it's 9:24 right now. I'm on 6 a.m. to noon every Sunday on kkdv.com, or you can listen at 92.1 FM, KKDV, that's in the Contra Costa County area. It's been fun. I hope I get to do another podcast this week. I get really busy with my job, and I try and do a podcast when I get home, and I'm just too busy. I have all this stuff going on, and my job is very multi-layered and complicated, and I do a good job, and I put a lot of work into it, and I throw myself into it, and then I get home, and I'm super tired, and I still got to walk Basil the Boxer, who you heard barking earlier. And I can't freaking think. And so, like, now I've had a good rest. I've had some coffee. I can access stuff in my brain. But, it's tough at the end of the hard working day. And when I used to do my podcast daily, it would be at 5 in the morning or 5:45, 6 o'clock. And I'd be also very tired and worn out and can't access things in my brain. So here you go. Probably the weekend is the best time. Maybe I should call it Mike's Weekend Podcast instead of Mike's Daily Podcast. But you can call me and give me your thoughts about all this at 336MM Daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in what this podcast will try to be this week. We'll try and do another one in the week. Maybe we can do all 5 days. We'll see. I think Friday I'll definitely be able to do one. We'll check it out. I would like you to remember the great Ginger Baker today. He passed away at the age of 80. He was the drummer for the band Cream. In a white room with red curtains at the station. I forget if he actually sang too as he drummed, but just an amazing drummer. And he was still drumming with the band just a couple of years ago. He was still drumming with them. So that was Eric Clapton's band, by the way, Cream. Yes, he came from that band. So we remember him. And I would also like to say hi to these people out here at Cafe Anyway. We talked to this guy earlier.
Yeah, Mike, have some delicious root beer. Oh, boy. Drink it or I'll cut you.
Brewmaster.
And happy Oktoberfest if you were celebrating that too. Hopefully it's in a safe area where electricity isn't an issue. Look who else is here right now.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the shop supervisor. I'm here right now.
Excellent. Happy Oktoberfest.
Thanks, Mike Matthews.
And look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, you have to be very careful with electricity. Mm-hmm. Yes. Imagine millennials and Gen Zers, and they don't have, when you turn off the electricity, they are completely helpless. They don't know. Generation Xers, we kind of know. No electricity, what you can do to get around it and whatnot. But with them, oh my God, it's tough. Hey, here's an interesting fact too. When we were young, Gen Xers, we got yelled at by our baby boomer parents or greatest generation parents. And they would always be, in my day, we had to walk in the snow 3 miles backwards with no shoes, blah, blah, blah. And nowadays, we don't have those stories, the Gen Xers. We all we got is our TVs were not in color. Or we had to stay by the phone if we wanted to get a phone call. They'd actually stay in the house, in our bedroom with the phone. The phone didn't go with us. Or it was, if we wanted to take a picture, we had to use film. We had to go and buy it and get it developed at the crappy photo mat down the street. And always the pictures turned out bad. Or whatever. But we don't really have the stories like our parents had, where it was, we had a war. We had a big bad war and my buddy died in battle and all this stuff. We don't have that. So that's why the millennials and the Generation Zers are so disrespectful to their parents and to the Gen Xers, and they are just so lazy, and they so don't want to. They don't understand that there's this thing called work, and they blame us. They blame us for the technology. that hooks them and takes up all their time doing things that mean nothing. I don't know. This podcast may mean nothing to most people, but maybe to you it means something. So I'm not saying this is a meaningless activity. But the video games they're playing, what's it good for? Or is a starfighter, the last starfighter, going to recruit them from another planet far away? Oh, we need you to fight this battle for us. You're the last starfighter. We've groomed you with this video game you've been playing. Maybe that'll happen. Who knows? Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Madame Rutabaga was last show, if you'd like to hear. Thanks for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!